Hey everyone, it's Ashley Cunningham here, and I am really excited. Tonight we are going to be channeling Nikola Tesla, and I am excited because he is a person who I've been really interested in channeling. I haven't really done any public channelings of him before, and I'm just going to be really curious to see what he has to say to us tonight. And as you guys ask questions, we will see what he, shares with you guys for in the way of guidance. So I think it's going to be really fun to connect with him today and to work with him. So yeah, it's gonna be a good night. I'm just kind of waiting for people to pop on. I am channeling live here in my Facebook group, Channeling with Love. If you're watching this on YouTube or later on maybe on Facebook, I'm going to be posting this other places, but if you want to ask questions live when I'm channeling, come and join Channeling with Love. And it's a pretty cool spot. It's pretty chill, lots of good people and a good vibe. And it's fun because we get to do things like this. And I'm seeing a few people pop on. Hi, Mimi and Chrissy. Hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining me. And Lisa is here. So yeah, definitely it's going to be a fun night. Nikola Tesla is really fascinating. I'm just asking for his energy to step forward. He's kind of been hanging out with me the last, I'd say, 2 hours. I just kind of noticed him a little bit in the background. And so I'm just asking him to step forward and get closer so we can really sense his energy. And he's stepping in right behind me. And how I'm feeling him, if you're interested in channeling for yourself, or if you're interested in how different mediums work, they're different techniques. Everyone's unique and different, and we all sense energy in our own ways. So I always like to share how I sense energy. And how I'm feeling him and how I know that he's behind me is my entire back is now really warm. So a temperature change has taken place. I'm also getting some tingling in my neck, and I'm getting a lot of tingling on the top of my scalp here, kind of like little pins and needles kind of in my scalp, like your hand or your foot's fallen asleep. It kind of feels like that, but not super painful or intense. It's very gentle, which I appreciate because I hate it when my feet fall asleep. It's so painful. But yeah, that's how I'm sensing him right now, and I'm asking him to come in a little closer. I'd like to feel his energy a little bit more stronger. And he is doing that now by applying more pressure, more energy on my back. And he's saying, hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to step forward this evening. There have been so many advancements since I have been alive on the planet in my incarnation, Nikola Tesla. And yet not as many as I would have hoped. I was a very driven person in my time, during my time here on Earth. And while there are other driven people, there are still a lot of advancements that can be made very soon, or hopefully will be made very soon. As we move forward on the planet, recognizing the efficiencies of using the energy around us is going to be of the utmost importance. And this is going to affect every area of our lives here on Earth, not just in generating power for operating our machines, our cars, our electricity in our homes, but also for other areas such as healing, such as in healing the planet and helping Gaia regain a better balance. There's going to be additional, I just saw 444 for you angel number lovers there. He's saying in addition to cleaning up our planet, using energies in different ways are going to open us up and free us up to be more creative in addressing the problems that we have created by using plastics and fossil fuels and other products that they last so long and they're very damaging to the earth. And we just need to have an effective way to process the products and byproducts of everything that we are using while we are here on the planet. He's now highlighting that the green energy and the he's showing like a lot of different images right now. He's showing people cleaning up beaches, people using different tools to accomplish similar things that we currently are doing with products that maybe are not as environmentally friendly. He's highlighting that while there may be some adjustments that need to be made, and he's showing me like people swapping products out for other things that they do the same job, but there may be a little bit more involved sometimes to make that happen. It's important to recognize that we each individually have a footprint and have a responsibility to get creative. And he's highlighting you don't have to have special, crazy, amazing science degrees. He's showing like a wall full of diplomas. You don't have to have that. You just have to have an idea. You have to be observant. You have to recognize what you could do in your own daily lives to reduce your use of products, as well as products that are harmful for the environment, as well as how do you still accomplish what you want to do in your daily life without using the resources that are very harsh on not only ourselves as humans, but also on Gaia herself. He's highlighting that there are, he's showing there's a lot of young children that have already arrived here on Earth, as well as babies that are on the way or will be joining us in the next few years to help combat this problem. Not necessarily combat, but he's showing like unlocking a door. He's saying not combat, but more free us from the problems that we are burdening ourselves with. And helping us to move forward in a more balanced way. And this shows up in all areas of our life, not just in science or being more sustainable, but also in arts, in culture, in the conversations that people are having. They are very driven by the awakened ones, the light workers that are coming to join us either very soon or they have arrived. He's pointing to just really, really young kids. They're kind of observing what's happening in the world now, and then as they get older, they are going to be taking more actions to help rectify problems that typically adults just get used to and forget about or don't really care enough about to get things done or to change things in their own lives. And as a fresh new perspective comes onto the planet, that will be ushering in even a greater lightworker energy, greater energy for everyone to anchor within their bodies, help with their awakening process, but also providing even more space for people who want to step forward and be a light worker and help others. It's just going to be a larger market, a larger he's showing like there's going to be just a larger audience that's going to be ready to interact with people who want to be light workers and step forward in expressing and helping people connect with spirit, as well as co-create with spirit, working on different projects, doing art, maybe focusing on I'm asking him and he's saying yes, focusing on the more sustainable side of how can we incorporate fresh new ideas into moving us forward in a direction that we still want to participate and be active in. We still want our daily life to look a certain way, but just kind of swapping things out as we move forward. And he's saying that with all of this new energy, it's going to be key to do a lot of self-reflection and recognize what it is that you want to do with your time as these shifts happen, as this energy anchors upon the planet. We all have our free... I've been doing this lately, and a lot of different spiritual beings have been like using this as a cue for me for free will choice. It's like you have the power in your fingers, your spirit fingers, you have the power in your hands to make certain choices within your life. So that's kind of a new little image that I've been seeing a lot in my readings and my healings, and the work that I've been doing with spirit. They keep showing me the spirit fingers. And he just showed me that. That's why I'm bringing this up. So we have our choice in our hands in every single day to move forward in whatever direction it resonates with us. But we will also be facing those consequences or the balance of the choices that we make. And you guys know this if you've listened to any of my other channelings before. We always have free will choice. We always get to make a choice in the moment, every single moment. And it's important to recognize that as we make choices, that creates our reality. So our reality will reflect all of the choices that we make. And he's recognizing that as you move forward, you have great power in affecting not only personal change, but global change. He's a big thinker, and he's showing me this really kind of like big blackboard with all this like mathematical equations and notes and like kind of like writings, and they kind of seem disjointed, but they're all connected together in the relation to energy. Energy is what makes everything happen, and everything is energy. So using that as a building block within your own life to move forward in your path, in the world, in making different choices, helping Gaia, all of that is going to be powered by energy. We get to make the choices as to what type of energy that is going to be. So, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm asking him if there's anything specifically else that he wants to share or talk about. He's just pointing to, I do see a question here, and he's pointing to this question. I'll pop it up here. I don't actually see your name, so I do apologize. But this person is asking, how do you use Tesla's 369 or 369 number to manifest? Good question. I don't know anything about that number. Let's see. Okay, so he's saying that, oh, Mina. Okay, that question was from Mina. Awesome question, Mina. Thank you for sharing that. He's saying that the 369 number, the power of that number is in the mind of the person wishing to yield it. Focusing your energy, focusing your intention, and using that number as he's showing kind of like a prism. So like the energy goes through to that number. You're sending your intentions, you're sending your energy, your focus onto that kind of focal point or that prism, and then it gets split out into this, like he's showing like this wide band of different like light beams that go out. And he's saying that this is an amplifier. It can amplify your energy and your intentions. It also helps to focus your intentions and your desires to manifest whatever it is that you wish to manifest. And so using that within your mind is going to be key, and then it amplifies or powers that out, or amplifies that out. So that's really, really fascinating. He's showing that when you are in a space, excuse me, of a quiet mind, and you're focusing and gathering your energy within your heart chakra, this is best done in a meditation, in a quiet space. You can bring forward that energy, and you can visualize however you wish. You can just say, 369 number, or you can have the number written out, or you can have it look like he keeps showing me this like diamond kind of like prism image. So you can use that as kind of a stand-in for his number. But you can use that visualization or use that as a focal point to then amplify out that energy to bring in whatever it is that you wish to manifest. He's highlighting that this technique is also something that can really help shift your frequency and your energy in a way that may surprise some of us. When we talk about manifesting, we're typically wishing to attract in abundance or attract to certain situations, attract things into our life. But he's saying that this is also a process in which you can amplify that which you already find gratitude for, or hold dear, or love. And that energy, just because it helps to amplify that energy, you're surrounding yourself more with the frequency in which you wish to manifest more of, but also other frequencies such as love, gratitude, gratefulness of for your life. He's just kind of like providing anything that brings you joy, any sort of happiness, any sort of light, high vibrational energy that can also amplify that energy within your life, which is good to know, which in turn, really makes it much easier to manifest that which you want to bring into your life. So it's kind of a twofold, which is pretty awesome. I haven't ever heard of that before, that number before. So that's really fascinating. That's just what he's showing me. But yeah, it's a really good focal point for you to bring in your attention and then amplify it out. So I hope that works for you, Mina, or that resonates for you. Thank you for that question, because that was really interesting. Okay, so we have another question here from Timothy. He is asking, with the current pace of technology, will we have free electricity for all in the next several years? Tesla is saying we could actually have that probably now. It's not necessarily a technology barrier. There would be some maybe additional things that need to be set in place for people to receive the free electricity, but ultimately we have pretty much all of the resources that we need, or the government has the resources, or companies have resources to make that happen. It's whether or not that is something that's going to be a priority for people to push forward and provide for free for everyone. So he's highlighting the technology is pretty much there already. It's just a matter of the companies, the government, people who are managing that energy. Are they going to be willing to step back? Probably not for a while, until it's maybe made worthwhile to them to do so, or it's some sort of governmental program or mandate that is the direction we go in the future. But he's saying it's already there. We already have it. It's just a matter of implementing it. And he's not making me feel like this is going to happen anytime soon, say in the next several years. He's kind of making me feel like maybe in like 20 years, there may be more of a support from larger, he's saying like communities, but he's also showing me like lobbying people who would lobby or, you know, really try and work with government or work with officials in any sort of capacity to bring that about. So there's going to be more steam around that, but but he's saying that it's slow. It's going to be slow going, and he's just making me feel like not to put our eggs in one basket or make a bet on that to happen in anytime soon. Which is unfortunate, because that could be a real amazing, you know, thing to provide to people, especially in impoverished communities or third world countries. You know, providing electricity, having that available would really mean that make a big difference in so many people's lives. So I hope that that does come to pass at some point, maybe not in the next several years, but hopefully in our lifetimes, at least in the next 20, 30 years. That would be amazing to be able to see that. Okay, Tim, I hope that resonates with you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to post those. This person, sorry, I don't see your name. Do we need to raise our vibration to the 9th dimension? Do we need to? He's saying, do you feel the need to? He's saying, no, you are not required to. You always have a choice as to how you evolve or progress along your ascension path. You can put a pause in it if you want. You can stop here where you're at. You don't have to move forward. It's always your soul's choice to move forward and progress along your ascension path. Would you like to do that? I think a lot of people would. The 9th dimension is so much more high vibrational, clearly, from where we're at in our 3D, 4D type space. And it's really important that we recognize that we always have a choice on our path. We always have a choice to step forward. He's saying we always have a choice to pause or rest, or to take a step back if we need to, as long as we are following our heart and making sure that we are balanced in everything that we do. That ultimately will lead to, he's showing kind of like our souls blossoming, like these cool, he's actually showing like these, I was going to move my glasses, I'm not wearing them right now. He's showing these like really cool roses that are super golden, and they're like shining out. They're like light roses, and we're all blossoming and choosing to step forward or open up when we're ready. So it's important to recognize that you don't need to do anything. You can if you'd like. You can work towards that. As you move forward, you'll recognize for your own soul's journey what is going to be your best path. But ultimately, most people here on Earth, we will be rising in frequency as more energy anchors on the planet. And he's showing that it's going to be slow going for some, but for some, it'll be very fast paced, and we'll be able to move forward pretty quickly, however we choose. So yeah, I hope that resonates with you. Hey, Lisa. No, I think you're pretty good. There's been quite a few awesome questions. So if you get a chance to watch the replay, please do. Okay, so let's see here. This is a cool question. Liz is asking, if you could, what would you like to invent with current technology? That's a really good question. He's going back to energy. He would like to see more focus brought in to focus in on how energy impacts the human body, how energy impacts everything else around it, focusing in on the powers of energy. That's a lot of his work when he was incarnated as Tesla. And there has been some progression, but there still needs to be a lot more done, and he would like to continue that work if he were to be in a body right now. He's saying he currently is not incarnated in a person at this time. He's on the other side, and he's working with a lot of people. He's showing that he's working with a lot of scientists, a lot of young children, a lot of light workers to connect the scientific knowledge with the spiritual knowledge and showing that overlap. And for me, he's highlighting, there was an article, I shared it out on the group wall a few months ago, and it was about how the CIA has acknowledged that there's astral travel and transcendental meditation helps people really unlock some mental powers that we all have, and being able to remote view, and there's a lot of different stuff that was in that article. I'll have to try and link it again or bring it up on the group wall if you haven't seen that. But he's highlighting that there is a lot of overlap in the scientific community with a lot of the spiritual knowledge that we have in the different spiritual groups that are on the planet, and uniting that together is some of his work. So he is really focused on that at this time, as he is on the other side of the veil, which I really appreciate, because I feel like there is a lot of change that's happening. And being a person who does mediumship and angelic Reiki healings, I see the benefits. I see how it affects people in their healing and their all of their bodies, their mental, emotional, spiritual, physical bodies. And I know that there's so much there that we can test, improve, and be able to share with people who maybe are not as open as a lot of us here are. So he's just highlighting that there's some marriage, some overlap, some marriage work going on to bring that stuff together. And I'm just saying thank you to him so much, because I want to see more of that. Awesome question, Liz. Thank you. Let's see. Is there a way to use energy to levitate large items? Can you tell us how? He's saying, yes, this has already been done. Maybe not widespread, maybe not in the general population, but there are people on the planet who already know how to do this. He's highlighting energy, vibrational frequency, resonance energy. I don't know if that's actually a term, but he's showing like a palette of like concrete bags or sandbags or something, on this big palette. And he's showing this machine kind of sending focused or targeted energies below to like the bottom of the palette, and it's slipping in underneath the palette on the ground, and it's making this friction, this kind of vibrational frequency, to where it would then, you could control it and slowly lift it up, and it will rise off the ground. That is the image he's showing. I have no idea about like the scientific principles behind that. He's saying it doesn't necessarily need to be delved into as much, but there are definitely people who already have this knowledge, and he's just alluding to people being quiet about it and not sharing that out. He's also highlighting I actually had someone asking these similar types of questions in a reading about ancient Egyptians. And I actually had seen, and he's saying yes, yes, yes to this, had seen some ancient Egyptian different beings using a similar tool. It was a very targeted tool. It wasn't very big. It was held in their hand, and they pointed this tool to whatever they wanted to move, and it was using that friction, that energy, to actually lift the like stone or whatever it is that they were trying to move, lift it up, and then they were able to just gently push it or direct it using the tool that they had in their hand. So he's saying this is not a new premise. This is not a new idea. There has been a lot of interest in moving forward with this technology, but there are people who have it and are maybe trying to find the right time to launch it or, you know, market it so they can make money off of it. He's saying that this is very common with a lot of scientific principles, a lot of scientific, he's saying principles and methods that have come back around. Like, we've lost them, we've kind of forgotten them, and we're rediscovering them, and they're old and new at the same time. So it's very, very interesting that he is bringing that up, uniting that, like, kind of that ancient Egyptian imagery with the palette that he just showed me. So I hope that resonates. Sorry, I'm not delving into the super scientific elements of that, but he's not really finding that important. He just wants the imagery to be there, so you guys can get a sense of what he's talking about. Hey, Mina. Yeah, I see your comment. It's probably your phone settings. You may have already set your settings up on your computer, maybe. If you're using your computer to stream, maybe just try and redo it on your phone. I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference, but it's okay. You guys, I'm going to still be asking these questions for you, even if I don't see your name. But I do appreciate you, Mina, sharing your name, because I always like to see you popping in here. Let's see here. Mimi is asking an awesome question. Are there any new laws taking place or will take place to avoid big companies using too much of the material that pollutes? That's really awesome. He's saying that, yes, there are going to be regulations that come out in a lot of different ways. Excuse me. In many different countries. He's showing me Europe, like he's highlighting Europe on a map. And he's saying a lot of the work that's being done in Europe that maybe hasn't been implemented here in the US is going to be transferring over, especially with this current administration and some of the future work that future administrations are going to be doing. It's going to really get more progressive in the different ways in which we can use the resources that we have. We can tap into new undiscovered resources that we can work towards. And he's highlighting energy, using energies around us in a really powerful way to do a lot of different things. And he's also highlighting that the regulations around the use of these things is going to be something that's very important and will definitely be at the forefront of the policy and the changes that are made by a lot of countries here in the US, Canada, even in South America and in Europe. He's also highlighting there are some countries that are going to do better than like the US or Canada, and some that will be continuing to strive for several decades to come to improve their efforts. But there will be some work that takes place, some laws that move forward. He's saying that it's going to be a mixed reaction. Some people will see this as a blessing and really positive. Some people, just with everything, I think. But he's really highlighting that there's going to be some mixed responses here. But ultimately, the heart or the core of what we need to address is going to be addressed and will benefit everyone as we move forward, whether they agree with it or not. This person is asking, what do you think about 5G? Any concerns? He's just giving me a feeling of like very neutral. There's not really a lot of he's not really concerned by it. But also he's highlighting that it could be improved and built upon in a way that is much more, he's highlighting like much more targeted or focused in the usefulness of 5G. So he's kind of, he's just making me feel like the rollout of it, the use of it now is kind of rudimentary. There's going to be more to this, and it's going to be built upon and developed further. Yeah, he's just stepping back on that. He's not really saying much else. So I hope that resonates for you. All right. Jim is asking, is the free energy similar to the device shared by Bashar? He's saying yes. They're, yes. He's just kind of like cutting it off there. Yes, it is similar for sure. But he's saying too, again, he's circling back. I don't know, Jim, if you caught this earlier, but there's a question about free electricity and whether or not that was going to be something that comes up soon. And he's highlighting that there are going to be actors that limit the free energy, free electricity available to everyone for many years to come. He's saying like 20, 30 years, like he's saying, showing that it's quite a ways away, even though we have the technology to do it already. So it's more about the people and the decisions and the companies that are making decisions, not necessarily the technology at this point. So he's kind of making me feel like there are some barriers that we have to overcome before that free energy, free electricity, the free, movement of a lot of the scientific elements he's talking about of that energy actually takes place. Okay, let's see here. This is a great question, Lisa. How much did he complete his soul's contract as Tesla? Was he supposed to bring these technologies to Earth at the time of his incarnation, and anything he didn't do that was in his soul's plan? Cool questions. I love it. He's saying, I executed my contract as needed. He addressed everything that he was meant to. There were several exit points before he did exit, but he was just so passionate about his work, and he was really trying to go above and beyond what he was already contracted to do in his life. And the choice was made for him as he needed to step back at that time. Even though from our perspective, a lot of his work was unfinished, there was a lot of kind of like drama, mystique, a lot of things happened to his knowledge and to everything that he brought to us, as well as he's showing that there were nefarious actors at work in his life, and that was definitely a big challenge that he had to surpass. But ultimately, the way things shook out were how they needed to be. And he doesn't feel like there wasn't anything that he was supposed to do that he didn't do. He just wishes that he had more time in that life experience to bring forward more of what was in his mind and what he was building towards and working towards. So he's just kind of saying it was what it needed to be. That was divine timing, and he was where he needed to be in that time. Which, I mean, I wish that he didn't have to exit so soon, because he could have just shared and brought in so much more. But I don't know, maybe part of that mystique, that mysteriousness, that all of the drama and the buildup and the nefariousness of the people around him also helped preserve some of his legacy, or bring him forward and keep him kind of in the forefront of our collective consciousness. It's all kind of working together, and he's just giving me a thumbs up on that. Great question, Lisa. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. What does Tesla think about Bill Gates's plans? Does it have to do with this free energy? He's just saying he's not really saying much. He's showing me Bill Gates standing there and Tesla standing there, kind of like clapping him on the back. He's saying at least he's trying. At least he's trying to bring forward new ideas and new ways of addressing issues that we all should be facing together. He's saying that there are some flaws in a lot of the pieces of his plans to bring forward certain elements of his energy plans and other things that he's working on, projects that he's trying to bring forward. But he's applauding Bill Gates for at least trying to do something and not just be a billionaire hanging out in his backyard, just chilling, doing nothing. He's at least trying to contribute to the world and to humankind and to Gaia, trying to bring in more balance to the energy that's here. Yeah, he's stepping back on that. He's just really focusing in on his effort. He's trying, and that's what he wants all of us to be doing, is trying. Whether or not we, have the capacity of someone like Bill Gates, or if we're just a regular Joe Schmo working our 9-to-5 job, we all have choices to bring more energy, peace, and balance to the world, to our own worlds, to Gaia, to the people around us. So he just wants us to remember that we all have the power to do this. And that's what, if any of you missed that intro, that's basically what he was saying in the intro in his initial thoughts and channeling. So really, really fascinating. Okay, another question here. Are there any Tesla towers actively being used? He's saying yes. He's showing that there's not very many. There's not like a ton everywhere, but there are a few select organizations that have one, and he's making me feel like they are keeping it hidden and are testing. They're doing a lot of testing and tweaking and trying to build upon it. But he's not highlighting exactly who that is. I could guess. I have a few ideas myself of who would be doing that kind of thing, but I won't go there. Lisa Barker, she's asking, what do you think about the new telescope being launched? He's saying it's great. A telescope, is a tool to further scientific discovery, and he's all about it. There needs to be some considerations as to the impact that a telescope like that may have on the area, the cultures, the people around where those tools are being used or utilized. He's saying in the scientific community, there are great strides that need to be made on making equitable decisions that affect the greater good, in balance, making those decisions in balance with striving for those scientific discoveries that could help all of humanity. There are always prices to pay for everything that we do, or consequences for everything that we do. And he's highlighting that there will be a lot of good conversations around the launching of this telescope and other tools like it as we move forward in a more awakened society where people are a little bit more aware of those consequences and the balance. Really fascinating. That's so cool. Okay, let's see here. Lindsay Ryan is asking an awesome question. Curious, is it possible to co-create with nature and make healing energy portals, or are there some that exist? He's just saying yes, like he's really happy that you asked this question, Lindsay. Yes, it is totally possible to create and with nature healing energy portals. You can also be co-creating with spirit to create these energy portals. He's going into the fact that there are some that exist. There are portals that show up around Earth and bring in a lot of high vibrational energy, healing energy that encompasses the whole Earth, as well as there are smaller portals that can be opened quite easily that are still present here on Earth that can be used. We as a human collective have forgotten how to use this, and this is part of the energy work that he was mentioning earlier around how we are going to be using more energy technology in healing in a lot of different areas of our life, not just in more of the scientific or energy focused areas, such as like free electricity and ways to power our cars and our technology. So he's highlighting that these are tools that we already have, and he's again pointing to the conversation that we had around levitation or levitating objects with that frequency, that resonant frequency tool that he was showing us images of. This is an old idea and will be repackaged and be new and be utilized in a new way, an ancient way that we are going to utilize in our modern society. Some people are already using energy portals. He's highlighting shamans, people who are already doing energy healing work can use those use energy portal techniques to create that space to facilitate the healing. And he's pointing to me, I've never really thought about the way I do angelic Reiki as creating a portal or a space. I always imagine it as creating kind of a bubble or a net that goes over a person and holding that space and observing the healing that takes place. But he's saying that this is a portal. In part, we are stepping outside of our time and space when we are doing this healing work, me and my healing team. And he's highlighting that this is something that we would immediately feel if we were to receive the healing. And with that, I want to mention just really quick, I have a group healing coming up. So thank you, Tesla, for bringing in my own angelic Reiki on that. A group healing is happening June 12th, and it's $30 a person, and it's going to be a really awesome experience. It's held in a private Facebook group. So definitely, if you're interested, you can go to my website, channelingwithlove.com, to check that out. But yeah, when I hold space for a group of people or one person individually, I feel like we're kind of taken out of where we're at in the moment. So in our time and space, and we're kind of in a separate location, surrounded by love and light. And it's always so fascinating to see that shift happen when the energy's coming through. And people really can tell the difference when it really hits and then when it ends and we kind of are brought back into our own time and space. So I'll have to think more about that and how I can express that better than what I just said, because it's very interesting, and I can share, maybe if you guys are interested, I'll do a video on sharing my own imagery that I see when I'm doing the angelic Reiki healing. And it's pretty consistent. I consider part of my style now of how the healings go. So that would be kind of really fun to do. And so I can dive into that at some point, maybe do a pre-record or something. Great question, Lindsay. Thank you. Let's see here. I have a question here. What do you think about Thomas Edison? That's a good question for Nikola Tesla. Saying he was essential. Thomas Edison was an important player in the development of electricity and the development of many of the technologies that we rely upon in today's world. While they clash, and while there were some trials and tribulations with Edison and with his work, there ultimately is no ill will. There is always the divine placement of people in each other's lives and how things affect how people can affect each other, and divine timing, and also the contracts all play a part in how everything played out. So he's just saying, like, it was meant to be as it is, and yeah, that's all he's sharing on that, which is really fascinating. I honestly don't know much about Thomas Edison's relationship with Tesla, so it seems like I don't even know. Honestly, I really don't know much about Tesla. I should probably like wiki it at least, or Google it, when he was doing his work and when Edison was doing his work, and seeing how that works out. But makes me feel like they were adversaries. And if you know anything, feel free to chime in. But he is just making me feel like there's ultimately no ill will towards him as a person, and he's recognizing the role that Edison played in the development of these technologies. So yeah, let me know if I'm anywhere close to that, because I honestly, when I actually got to have a degree in history, but I never focused on the history of scientific principles or development. So I never really delved into the Nikola Tesla story or Thomas Edison's story. I was more interested in the more cultural aspects of the time periods that I studied in my degree, or for my degree. Anyway, let's see here. Did the government steal his work upon his death? They probably wouldn't use the word steal. He's saying they acquired his work. And there are other characters who also took some of his papers. He's showing like papers, documents, and ideas on certain things. He's showing like various projects were affected. So he's definitely highlighting that there was not just one entity or organization playing a role in his lifetime. There were many, but yeah, the government of the time did acquire a lot of his work. So yep, and I think that's yeah, and it makes sense, to be honest, that the government would have done that. Would you like to be part of our current technological times? He's highlighting that there are a lot of conveniences that he would have liked to had in his lifetime. The ability to learn and connect to anyone in the world, learn from, connect to, speak with anyone in the world is a really powerful tool. And it's an important tool for our human collective consciousness, as well as an important means of disseminating information that could be further progressed upon or developed, or worked upon by many people at the same time. And so he's just so he's showing he's kind of in awe of the way that a lot of people have been able to progress certain scientific projects, or move forward in certain ways, especially around the more environmental movement, in figuring out how to address some of the problems that we're facing on Earth, and co-create with people on the other side of the world very quickly. In the same day, they can talk to each other. In his time, that was not necessarily possible. It was weeks and weeks or months of being able to, you'd have to write to someone and then they'd send information back, and it was not as conducive to the scientific process as it is now. So he's highlighting that is something that he would have loved to have had his hands on, and been able to use and to work with others in a way that was helping to progress further his ideas and projects and his work. Okay, Jim is asking, what was the power source that was used in the device used by the Egyptians to levitate the blocks? Was it some kind of battery? He's saying, no, it was energy. It was not necessarily a specific contained element. The tool itself was able to extract energy from around it in a way that did not completely drain a person. He's showing like it was just able to take in the energy and channel it. So it wasn't necessarily something that needed a battery, like to plug in, that you would have to recharge or get fuel for. It was more of a bringing in and channeling or focusing, kind of like that prism energy or imagery that he shared before around the 369 manifestation technique. And that is really important to make a distinction on, because energy is everywhere, is everything, and we can flow with it. We can use it in a lot of different ways that we haven't really utilized since ancient times, or we haven't really developed yet. There's still stuff to come, he's saying. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Lisa. She's saying wonderful healings by Ashley. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. They're, for me, an honor and a pleasure. Like, I really love doing angelic Reiki healings, especially the group healings, because you get to see all of the separate yet kind of similar experiences that people have in one session. It's so amazing. Every single time at the end of a healing, I'll share what I've seen, any messages that come through. I'll talk about everyone who helped in the healing for the group. And so many people share that they've seen things in the exact same way, or experienced energy in the same way, or maybe have really unique experiences as well. It's really cool to see all the similarities and then the unique things that happen for each person. So thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad you enjoy working and receiving those healings from the healing angels that work with me. And yeah, it's just a fun time. I love it so much. Okay, let's see here. We have a few more questions. What do you think about space travel? Have you met any alien entities? Yes, he's saying, as a spiritual being, galactic energies are very common to experience, to interact with, to work with. He's highlighting that there are many galactic groups that are also endeavoring to bring forward the more scientific principles of their understanding of the universe and how it operates, with the ideas around energy, as well as around healing, and as well as infusing ideas into our human collective consciousness. So a lot of the work that they do to help people here on Earth overlaps with a lot of the work that Nikola Tesla himself was talking about earlier, and that he likes to focus on as an ascended master spiritual being on the other side of the veil. So it's really, really common for him to be working with alien or galactic entities. And he's saying space travel is inevitable. There are great strides that are being made. However, the principles that need to be there to make it more cost-effective, easier, and more attainable project or attainable step in our own development as a race is going to be needing to be focused on. And he's highlighting the principles of energy, using the energy around us and utilizing how energy can move and flow, as well as the different environments in which we would have to understand how energy moves and flows within our own reality here on Earth, in this kind of zone that is highly protected, and then also moving out into space and going into other areas that have different frequencies, different energy, different ways of there's different ways that energy moves in other places. He's showing like Mars and Earth have a lot of similarities. There's a lot of basic similarities about Mars and Earth, but there's also a ton of differences. And energy on Mars may flow and be used in different ways than energy on Earth. So there's going to be a lot of work that has to be done before we can get there to where it's more frequent or easier for humans to accomplish and utilize on a more regular basis. Which I've never thought about that before. I've never thought about the flow of energy on Mars or say Mercury or Venus or in the sun versus how that flow of energy happens here on Earth. And yeah, I guess there's like some obvious differences, of course, but he's making me feel like there's more for us to understand just how energy works here on Earth before we can move to other planets really easily. Good question. Very good question. Okay, let's see here. Bryant is asking, in the American Southwest, there are ancient stone housing ruins that still stand today. But do you have any ideas what happened to the Anasazi people? Okay, he's saying that, yeah, there are still remnants of the Anasazi culture, other cultures that lived in that area at the same time. The Anasazi people, he's making me feel like left intentionally. And there are a variety of reasons as to why they left. They just kind of abandoned their space and they needed to leave. And they moved into other areas of the landscape and also moved into other groups. He's kind of making me feel like they disbanded for some pretty big reasons. They didn't disappear just one day they were there and then the next day they were like not on the face of the earth. He's saying that they were still present, but they moved into different groups. They split up, they left, and it was very sudden, yet it was necessary. And he's highlighting that there were a few different reasons for it. He's making me feel like there's a lot of like fear involved in the decision making, like a fear of maybe an outside force or a fear of some sort of really big change in the culture. Maybe I'm trying to ask him if like he can be more specific. Was it like a fear of a disease or a fear of something that was more natural or found within their natural world? Or was it something that was completely foreign, like maybe aliens showed up, you know, maybe that's something that happened. He's saying that they had an understanding of galactic energies that was not fear-based, that was not necessarily a part of the factors of their change, their decision to leave their area. He's just making me feel like there was a lot of fear. So something was making them very afraid, and they left, and they kind of disbanded into other groups. I don't really know anything about the Anasazi people at all, or the conversations around maybe where they went, but he's also highlighting that there are other cultures too that have sort of disappeared. And while they maybe didn't disappear overnight, they evolved out or shifted into other cultures or other groups. There were a lot of different reasons why that happened, but he's highlighting that there are some similarities between the different groups that have also kind of disbanded or almost disappeared overnight, kind of like how the Anasazi are referred to. I'm going to have to do some research. That was a kind of interesting question. Totally, yeah, irrelevant, but thanks for the question anyway. Something to learn or to study and read up on, because I don't know anything about it. But it's there. He's making me feel like there was a lot of fear, and there were some hard decisions that had to be made, but they were made, and people split. They just left. So I don't know if that resonates with you or if that resonates with anything that has been studied about those people, but that's what he's saying. Okay, Lindsay Oh, I'm glad. I'm going to post that up. So she did it too. She did the Reiki starseed healing that I had. I have a few different types. I do angelic Reiki, and then I also do galactic Reiki, which brings in our starseed families and starseed healers, galactic healers to bring in that Reiki. And she's saying she enjoyed it. Thank you, Lindsay, for sharing your experience and your opinion on that. Are there any other questions, guys? We're a little over time, but I can probably take maybe one more question. If not, that's okay. I just want to say thank you guys so much for your time and attention and hanging out with Nikola Tesla. Oh, good question here just popped in. He once said crystals are living beings. Did he work with crystals? He says yes, he did. It wasn't it wasn't in larger projects that he was more known for, but he was starting to evolve or incorporate them into his projects, and he was doing a lot of studying of them. And again, in the energy category, looking at the energy signature, he's saying energy signatures of different crystals and how they could, like that prism image that he was showing earlier, amplify out energy frequencies. So he definitely was doing some work with crystals. And that was Mina again. Thank you, Mina, for the amazing questions that you have asked tonight. You've had some really good ones. Well, okay, guys. I just want to say thank you to all of you for hanging out. Thank you to Nikola Tesla for hanging out and answering so many cool questions. I think I need to go read some books about him and connect more with his energy, because this was really fascinating. There were so many different concepts and images that he shared that is just really, really cool. And I could see a lot of the work that he has done has impacted us today, but there's still so much more that could be done. And so I'm excited to maybe learn more about his thoughts and discover more of what he did and more of what could be done as we move forward. So thank you, and I hope you all have a great evening, and I will talk to you guys later. Next week I have another channeling. I think I am channeling oh goodness, why do I always blank on this? I am channeling, let me go and look up my events here. Oh, you guys, if you are in the Channeling with Love group, you will see on my events page, you can find that at the top of the group wall under events. I'm actually channeling Hades next Wednesday, May 19th. And I'm really, really excited to be channeling Hades because he has been coming to me for the last few months, popping in, saying hi, trying to chat with me a bit. It's taken me a little bit to get warmed up to him and to really try and connect with him. I think there's maybe some fear programming I needed to release because he is the Greek god of the underworld. So kind of a darker God energy, but he is so sweet and he's been very, very awesome to channel. So I'm really excited to share his message and answer questions with him, have him come in and answer your guys' questions. So it's going to be really, really cool, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. If you have any recommendations, feel free to post them or send them to me. We will also be doing a mystery channeling here in a few weeks as well. So feel free to send those my way. And again, talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.